So I watched the final season of The Umbrella Academy and I have some thoughts. So I've been watching this show since the beginning and I've always been intrigued with it because I thought it was always such an interesting timeline. I mean, a group of family, like a family of like superheroes who are supposed to save the world, but they're like such a dysfunctional family, plus obviously Elliot Page, and just seeing them in this role was top. So I was excited for the last season. I really thought it was going to go out with a bang, and I was excited. If you haven't seen the final season, then definitely do not watch this video. But the final season did not live up to my expectations. First of all, what was that whole plot line? The whole Ben Jennifer thing, like it's 6 years later after they're in this timeline that Hargreaves wanted to like bring back his wife, and they no longer have their powers, and Ben finds a way for them to get their powers and then like introduces it, and I'm like, okay, so nobody wants to have their powers and they get really sick, but then they have their powers back, but it's like not their new powers, right? And then you find out that there's like this girl named Jennifer and this weird like little cult, Jean and Jean, who believe that there are other timelines and they collect these artifacts. Obviously, Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally are top tier. Like, they're so great in these roles, and I love it to see them go from like comedic to like perfectly unhinged. I mean, they play the perfect unhinged couple. But yeah, so you find out they're part of this like whole cult that is like in charge of like leading the cleanse. And at the forefront of the cleanse is obviously Ben and Jennifer. What I hate is that it just felt like Ben never gets the good end of the stick. So obviously he died, and you find out the reason why he died was to prevent him and Jennifer potentially blowing up the world, right? So they're going on this mission to find Ben and Jennifer, and we have number 5 and Lila basically ending up in this like going from timeline to timeline, and they get lost over 7 years, and then they decide to like be in a relationship and she falls in love with him. Stupid. Doesn't make any sense. Where was Klaus the whole time? Do you guys remember? We found out that Klaus literally can harness the dead, and to me he came off as like one of the extremely powerful ones, and the only time he like really used his powerful is when he was when he like brought back to life this dog and when he was being held captive. And I'm like, Klaus is so powerful, and it just felt like there was no character growth for him because it just felt like he was cowering the entire time, had to be saved, and it just felt like all of the development that we had done for him gone. I'll spare you the details, but basically, if you watch, you see what happens at the end. The whole reason why they're constantly in every timeline preventing the end of the world is because their deaths set off this like chain of events that led to the breaking of the timeline. And so in the end, they end up basically like forming with the marigold, forming with the cleanse, and then it basically reverts life back to when, as if before they were born, like if they had never happened. Yeah. But the plot hole was there because Lila and Diego's kids and Allison's like daughter also like were sent to that timeline, and so there, I don't know, it just didn't make sense. It felt really rushed, and it just felt like a lot of plot holes were missing, and I just didn't really enjoy it. And I felt like a lot of character development had been lost. I loved Elliot's role in this and kind of being able to see like his like more dramatic side in this and confronting Hargreaves, but yeah. I definitely was expecting more for sure. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, did you watch Umbrella Academy the last season, and what did you think?